Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the GioMoShow, right here on 88.3 FM, WXOU, Auburn Hills, Michigan, Oakland University, and all your wonderful station identification features. I am your host, Giovanni Mosheri. I'm also the sports media director here at WXOU, and the GioMoShow is your home for all Oakland sports and beyond on 88.3 FM. We are also, for the first time, live now on YouTube. So you could go to the GioMoShow on YouTube. Tune in to get a nice bit of video of the show while it's happening. But if you want the best audio quality, then you're going to have to stick with me right here on WXOU. And of course, all of it will be released in its entirety in the best form, in its perfect form, on YouTube and Spotify. You guys could like, subscribe, check me out, 5-star review, get all of that to get all of your GioMoShow goodness. But in addition to all of that, you could go and follow WXOU on social media. That would be on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. You could join our WXOU Discord server to get to know everybody and stay connected at the station, whether you're a volunteer or whether you're just a big fan. And you can also find me on social media as well. You can find me in the show's specific Instagram at the GioMoShow. And once again, you can find me at any time on YouTube and Spotify. And if you are new to the GioMoShow, then let me introduce you to our usual topics. As part of your home for Oakland sports and beyond, we have men's and women's basketball to cover here on WXOU. We're going to have a little bit on swim and dive as well, as each of the men's and women's teams for basketball have huge home wins this weekend, one each. And we're going to talk all about that in the first half of the show, and then the second half of the show, or maybe second 3 quarters of it. We'll see how much time we have for it. But, of course, you guys know about it. You guys watched the game this weekend. The Detroit Lions are in the NFC Championship game. That's no joke, and that's no small feat. And we will give it its due honor on the GioMoShow today. That will be coming up near the second half of the show. And one last announcement before we get things going here on the GioMoShow. Our next WXOU sports broadcast. Well, we only have one this upcoming week. It will be women's basketball as they stay home to face the reigning champion Cleveland State Vikings. That'll be on Thursday, 7 p.m. on WXOU. You can listen to it for free with us right here. So it's going to be a bit of a light week of new sports next week. So we're going to be able to have a chance to have a little bit more fun on the show for next week. And with that, we're going to head over to men's basketball to start off. Again, each men's and women's team, they got one game this past week, and we're going to give them in detail for you guys here. So, the men's team last Wednesday, the 17th, they hosted Youngstown State, one of the best teams in the Horizon League. It's a team that Campy has been mentioning in almost every press conference since the start of the season when talking about Horizon League play and talking about the big dogs that they're going to have to go up against and talking about, simply the best teams in the Horizon League. Jared Calhoun, the head coach for the Penguins, and Youngstown State, they always come up in conversation. And we had a chance to host them last Wednesday after beating them in their own house. So we already had the 1-0 advantage during the season over Youngstown State, and this past Wednesday was the chance to seal the sweep against last year's regular season champion. Youngstown State also did that. And the game, it was a close one throughout the entire game. And it's the same thing for the women's game coming up. But this game was close. Oakland was definitely able to keep themselves in the game. And through all the efforts, I mean, it was a title bout, I would say. It was a heavyweight throwdown in the arena. I was there doing play-by-play along with Drew Allison for that broadcast. You can check that out on our WXOU Sports' YouTube channel, and you can read all about the game on WXOU.org. We got a game summary written by our sports director, Harja Buttar, if you want more details on the game itself. But from my perspective, this game was big. It had the high stakes, it had the tough opponent, and it had the home field advantage, or the home court advantage, to make it a good game. And that good game it ended up being, as Oakland wins in the last seconds, 70-67 against Youngstown State, to win their 6th in a row, to beat the reigning regular season champions, and to claim the top of the Horizon League. Youngstown State was 3rd place coming into this game, and Oakland stacked another loss on them. That's going to be huge for tiebreakers going down the line for this season, because not a lot of teams are going to sweep Youngstown State. It's just as simple as that. Even fewer teams are going to beat them at home. Oakland has done both of those things. So that's going to prove crucial down the stretch. And as mentioned before, that's a 6-game win streak. That's a win streak that started in Youngstown when they beat the Penguins in Ohio, and then it went to Milwaukee and Green Bay, beating them at home, and then Northern Kentucky at home, IUPUI on the road, and then back to Youngstown State at home. It's been a great stretch of men's basketball. So to paint the picture here, when I said the game was in the final seconds, I'll give you the story of the final play of the game. It was the second half, and there was 17 seconds left in the game. This was late in the second half. Youngstown State had the ball, had the inbound ready to go, and the score was within 1. Oakland was up 68-67. So it looked like Youngstown State was going to have the last possession because the full shot clock would have been to them. So Oakland needed to get a steal and needed the ball back in order to seal the game, or at least hold on to it long enough to keep Youngstown State from scoring again. So the game was in the balance in these last 17 seconds. And Rocket Watts, who has been saved for the last few minutes for the past few games now. Rocket Watts has been coming off of the bench, not as a punishment and not as an indictment, but as a way to use him better. He gets hot in short bursts, and Campy lets him go fully charged, fully refreshed, and especially when it comes to these late games. His assignment was to guard Youngstown State's best player for that night, one-on-one. That's been his role for the past few games. Campy would rest him for a few minutes in the second half, and then he would let him loose and say, he does not score. He tells Rocket, he will not score against you. That's his job. That's a job that he did well, and the final play was won by Rocket Watts. On that inbound by Youngstown State, Rocket Watts sees the pass, predicts it, has a vision, and he goes up and lays both hands on it like Calvin Johnson catching a touchdown pass over 3 Bengals defenders. It was one of those styles of catches. He intercepts the ball and turns around to go to the cup, fumbles the ball a little bit, and gives Youngstown State's defense some time to get back on defense, and by the time Rocket Watts was able to lift the ball up for the layup, it was defended. That split second of fumbling the ball allowed Youngstown State to recover, block the shot, but they did so too late. Youngstown State was called on goaltending on that final shot, making that last one count, giving Rocket Watts those 2 points, and leaving the game with the final score of 70-67. Whew. Was that exciting or what? And like I mentioned, we got the full broadcast on our YouTube channel. We got an interview with Blake Lampman for the end of the game as well, to hear the 5-year Golden Grizzly and his thoughts on this streak and on this win and on his teammates. Definitely go and check that out on YouTube right after the GioMoShow. But it was an exciting, down-to-the-wire game. It's one that I've seen many times here at the Arena. me and Drew specifically, when we're on the call, the game's always close and it's always a win. Just saying. But that leaves Oakland top of the Horizon League, 6-game win streak, 7-2 in conference. Now getting to the box score of the game, Chris Conway led the Golden Grizzlies in scoring with 17 points. He was 6 of 8 from the field. He made a 3-pointer on top of it, 1 of 1 from the arc, 4 of 4 from the line as well. 2 rebounds and assists and 2 steals as well for Chris Conway. Trey Townsend wasn't far behind, 16 points, 6 of 14 from the floor, 1 of 2 from 3. So Townsend and Conway made 3s in this game, and I haven't gone back and watched the stats, but I would imagine that does not happen very often at all. And that is a game, this was a game where it happened. Even Youngstown State's inside guy, post move aficionado, even he made a 3 in this game. It was I forgot his first name, but Reed, R-E-I-D. He made a 3-pointer in the game, too. So it was a weird three-point shooting game for both sides. But either way, Trey Townsend, 16 points, 6 of 14, 1 of 2 from 3, and 3 of 3 from the line. Blake Lampman, 11 points, 3 of 8 from 3. Those were all of his field goals, and had 8 rebounds on top of it. 2 assists and 2 steals as well. So it was a bit more of a spread-out game for the Golden Grizzlies. And in total, they shot 46% in total as a team. 46% from the field, 38% from three, and 92% from the free throw line. We haven't seen numbers like that from Oakland since the Jalen Moore days of last year. So to see Oakland capitalize on the free throws that they were getting made a huge difference in this game. Obviously, it was within one possession. It's going to. So they will now move on they will move on to Wisconsin, face both Green Bay and Milwaukee this coming week, the 25th. That's a Thursday. They will play Green Bay at 7 o'clock in the Resch Center. I don't know how to pronounce it. And then Saturday, they will face Milwaukee at the UWM Panther Arena. So it's going to be a road trip for the Golden Grizzlies. Unfortunately, you cannot hear those games on WXOU, so you're going to have to go find those on your own. Neil Rule will have the radio call for you guys on 97.1 as well, and you can also watch on ESPN+, but Neil does a good job. So I'd recommend tuning into that Odyssey app and tuning into Golden Grizzlies. So, I mean, like I mentioned, that's the only game that the Golden Grizzlies have played so far in the past week since the last time we talked. So They got a good deal of rest before going to Wisconsin, and it's looking like the Golden Grizzlies are going to have a good season. So, with that, we'll move on to women's basketball after this break. But before that break, I got to tell you about the Blue Ski Mask Show. Now Tuesdays at 4 o'clock on WXOU. It's your home for the ultimate Detroit football and basketball show. Those for aficionados of those sports. This program is hosted by Oakland Post sports editor Brock Hillig and sports reporter Kirk Szymanski as they take you on a ride through the Detroit Lions and Detroit Pistons. All the news, the in-depth analysis, the player spotlights, the game reviews, the expert insights, all centered around the NFL and NBA action in the Motor City. You can tune into them Tuesdays at 4 p.m. right here on WXOU, or you can tune into them afterwards, also on WXOU Sports on YouTube. We got more shows going on YouTube, so be sure to check them out. They're at Spotify as well, so there's no way to miss the Blue Ski Mask Show, Tuesdays, 4 o'clock on WXOU. We'll be right back with women's basketball and a little bit of club hockey action before we get into the Detroit Lions and the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. We'll be right back on the GioMoShow. Welcome back, everybody, to the GioMoShow right here on 88.3 FM WXOU. We got women's basketball to talk about here. They also have one game in this past week. We're going to touch a little bit on swim and dive as well, dip into club hockey. Then we'll get to the Detroit Lions. So stick with me here as we talk about this wonderful... Actually, the women played 2 games. Just one game was really good. I'll be blunt. But this past week, the Golden Grizzlies women's team were visited by those in Wisconsin. This past Thursday, the 18th, was Milwaukee. And then Saturday, the 20th, was Green Bay. I'll keep the Milwaukee game short as the final score was 51-67. And it wasn't pretty by any stretch of the imagination. This is no insult to the Golden Grizzlies team, but you watch the game, and there was a lid on the rim. It was a struggle to make any shots, and then whatever Milwaukee had for breakfast that morning was working, as they made seemingly all of their shots, even though that they were just with Oakland in the Horizon League standings. You thought it would be a little more of an even match like going into it, but it did not end up being the case. Final score 51-67. Golden Grizzlies, they shot 30% as a team from the floor, 11.8% from 3, and 27 from the free throw line. They went 3 of 11. So it was a rough night, and you knew with the reigning regular season champs and the runner-up of the Horizon League coming up next in Green Bay, you thought it was going to be a tough going for the Golden Grizzlies, and it turned out to be an excellent game. So Saturday the 20th, Oakland played the reigning champs, or the reigning regular season champs in Green Bay, or of Green Bay. They played in the arena. But I'll take you through the story of the game, a little bit of a synopsis of the game. If you want more details on this and the one from Milwaukee, then once again, we got game summaries on WXOU.org that you can read up on. Harshit Buttar does a good job of recapping the game with a little bit of a spicy flavor of his own. So be sure to check those out and listen to the broadcast. We got highlights, everything on WXOU Sports on YouTube. So the general story of this game Oakland kept it a little bit close in the first quarter, but it ended with a Green Bay lead by 7, 27-20 after 10 minutes of play. But then Oakland turned up the heat. They had that 7-point deficit and turned it into a 7-point lead into halftime. Oakland was up 47-40 in halftime. And then, I was there in the studio for it. I had my reservations about about them being able to sustain it against such a good team. And I was proven wrong. Oakland maintained the lead throughout the third quarter. They didn't let it go, although it did dwindle. From the 7-point lead they had at halftime, they ended the third quarter down or up only by 2. 62-60 was a score after the third quarter. And then you knew at this point that the upset could be coming. That's what college basketball is all about. It's all about upsets in any team and any given night. That's what college basketball is all about, and that was proven that afternoon in the arena. So, in the fourth quarter, Green Bay got up to multiple 5-point leads throughout that quarter, and they even got up by 6 points with 45 seconds left to go. So I'm fast-forwarding all the way to the end of the game here. It was 45 seconds, and Green Bay was up by 6. 2 layups by Kennedy Monteau got the game tied up at 81 points with 12 seconds left. And there were some free throws involved as well. But tied at 81 with 12 seconds left. Green Bay was fouled by Oakland, and they had a chance to take the lead with free throws. And they missed the first one. And get ready for the second shot. They missed both free throws with a chance to take the lead with 12 seconds left in the arena. And then from there, after a timeout, Oakland had the ball last. And it was in the hands of their leader, of their point guard, Brooke Quarles-Daniels. And with that, Brooke Quarles-Daniels nails the game-ending shot, closing out the Green Bay Phoenix with a final score of 83-81. Last second shot by Oakland sent it to a victory for the Golden Grizzlies. It was an accelerating game. It was exciting throughout. You had a feeling that it was one of those games where you're on the brink of heartbreak or euphoria, It was one of those things, and it was just such a great game, a great upset in the Horizon League. And to put it into higher stakes, Green Bay did not lose a Horizon League game until that weekend, until Saturday against the Golden Grizzlies. Oakland put their first Horizon League loss on them that day. It was a great game and a great performance. We got a chance to interview Kennedy Monteau after the game, so definitely go and check that out on WXOU Sports. Got her thoughts of it, as not only did she get a career high in scoring, Brooke Quarles-Daniels also got a career high in scoring. So we got the perspective from her, how she felt motivated by the team, the energy. We heard all of it. So be sure to go check out that interview. Harja Buttar was talking to her. Getting to the box score of that game. Oh my, do I not have the box score up? 1 second, folks. Let me go get that. For some reason, I had the box score for Milwaukee, but I did not have it up for Green Bay. 1 moment. So, against the Phoenix, leading scorer for the Golden Grizzlies was Brooke Quarles-Daniels, 27 points. A career high for her against the best team. An efficient 11 of 14 from the field and 5 of 8 from the free throw line. Added on 7 rebounds, 3 assists, a block, and 2 steals in that 27 points. Played 37 minutes of the game. Darn near all of it. Kennedy Monteau was second in scoring, also had a career high of 23 points, 7 of 13 from the field, 3 of 8 from 3, 6 of 7 from the line, 4 rebounds and assists, and 3 steals for Monteau. Miriam Abizam was the third in scoring for the Golden Grizzlies, 11 points, 3 of 5 from the floor, 5 of 6 from the line, with 8 rebounds on top of it. She ended up fouling out in the final moments of the game. There was, I think, 3 players fouled out towards the end of the game. 1 for us, that was Miriam, and then 2 for Green Bay. So those are our top 3 scores for the day. As a team, Oakland shot 50.9% from the field, 26.3% from 3. made 77% of their free throws. A remarkable improvement from the game that they just played a few days prior to that against Milwaukee. And they played the game of their lives. That's what Kennedy Montew told us. They played their hearts out. They gave it all on the blacktop. It was a great game. Be sure to read up all about it on our website, WXOU.org, and watch listen to the broadcast if you want to. You can watch the post-game interview with Montew as well. A lot to look at for that game against Green Bay. And the Golden Grizzlies will continue play. They'll be at home against Cleveland State this coming Thursday, 7 o'clock in the arena. Cleveland State is the reigning Horizon League champions, one of the better teams or one of the best teams in the Horizon League. So after coming off a big win against Green Bay, they get a lot of rest and a lot of time to focus up on Cleveland State. So it should be a great game. Be sure to tune into WXOU for that. We have the call as well as go to the game if you can. That's the thing on the Joe Mo Show. I love it. I would love it if you tune into our broadcast here at the station, but what would make me happier and what would make me more proud is to see you guys in the stands. To see you guys giving that energy to the team. Because I don't know if everybody realizes this. One, the games are free for students. That's one thing that I hope you guys realize. Other schools will charge you to go to home games. Every home game for Oakland is free for students. Show your ID, walk in the student section, and have a blast. And two, your energy, you participating in the stands affects the game, straight up. I've been to many games. I've seen a momentum swing. And when it gets to Oakland's favor, when they capture the fire and they get the crowd involved, the atmosphere is electric in there. The team is affected by it. Golden Grizzlies are energized by it. And the opposing team, they start to get the shakes a little bit. They start to tighten up when they have the crowd against them. So you guys do have an influence on the game. It truly is the sixth player, the sixth man, the sixth. You guys have a huge impact. So it would warm my heart for you to listen, but it would warm it more if you went to the arena. So again, that's Thursday, 7 o'clock against Cleveland State. They're going to need you guys in there because those are the reigning champs. So we'll move on quickly to swim and dive and then get into club hockey. Swim and dive, they have had a couple of meets. Last Friday, the 19th, they hosted Hope College and Saginaw Valley State for a combined meet. Oakland came out on top in both. Well, why don't I verify that just to make sure? But I actually, while we're on the subject, just this morning, Mondays in the Gold Rooms, it was a combined effort between SAAC, and Holmes, and a couple other organizations here at Oakland. But they held a guided meditation session. This time was led by Oakland Swim and Dive head coach Mitch Alters. He did a great job of that. So I got my zen in coming in to the Joe Mo Show here. And I recommend you guys go. I believe it's going to be bi-weekly on Mondays, either at 10 o'clock or they might change it to noon. So be sure to follow them on social media to keep up to date with all of that. But I had a great time with that. The coaches, they do a good job with it. They're looking to get Juan Pablo Favero, the women's soccer coach. They're looking to get him as their next guider for the meditation. And he's all about mental health, man. He's like a guru with that kind of stuff. So he's gonna do a good job at that. So I recommend you guys go and check that out. So, getting back to swim and dive, looking at the results of the meet. Those are all the times. Hold on. Either way, okay, it's going to take me a little bit to dig up the results for this, but either way, Oakland did host Hope College and did host SVSU on Friday. You can check out the results on GoldenGrizzlies.com. They'll have it all written up for you. And then they were on the road to Wayne State to face the Warriors, and they ended up sweeping as in both the men's and women's, won the meet. Women, they scored 154, and the men scored 146 in Detroit at Wayne State. So well done and congratulations to the swim and dive team. They will now be on the road next Friday at Cleveland State before they get ready for the Horizon League Championships. A meet in which they have won the past 26 in a row for the women and the past 40 plus for the men. This will be the first year of Mitch Alters at head coach to continue the tradition of these conference championships. So that one, those are going to be great. Those are going to be electric. And, best of luck to the swim and dive team. The Horizon League Championships will start on Valentine's Day, February 14th. That's a Wednesday. And will finish that Friday, so February 17th. And our final segment before we get into the NFL will be club hockey. D1 and D3. The D1 team, they played this past Saturday against Purdue Northwestern and lost, I believe, 9-0 to the Lions, I think they're called. We had that game broadcasted on WXOU Sports on YouTube. We're starting to get the YouTube live streams going for those games as well. So be sure to stay tuned and stay locked in for that. And we also covered a little bit of D3 hockey. They were down in Buffalo Wild Wings Arena this past weekend against Central Michigan. At Buffalo Wild Wings, WXOU was there to cover the 5-1 victory against the Chippewas. And we had an interview with one of the players, scored his 50th goal of the season or his career. I believe his career. It was his 50th goal of his career in that game. We got a chance to talk to him. So stay tuned to WXOU Sports for that interview. Don't believe it's out yet, but be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. And then they also followed that up with an away game against Central Michigan, losing that one in a close 2-1 to the Chippewas. So they split against Central Michigan and will be getting ready soon to continue play. Be sure to go to their websites and go to their social medias of D1 and D3 hockey. They got all the details of their games, their scores, and their upcoming events. So be sure to follow up, find them on Instagram, find them on Twitter, find them on their website. And that will close out the Oakland sports segment of the Joe Show. We got there in just a perfect 30 minutes. We'll be coming back with the NFL, the divisional round of the playoffs. Talk about the Ravens and the Texans. We'll talk about the Niners and the Packers. We'll talk about the Lions and the Bucks, of course. And we'll talk about the Chiefs and the Bills. Coming up on the Joe Show for Football Therapy. Welcome back here to the Joe Show, and it's time for Football Therapy. It's time to talk about the NFL playoffs. I didn't get into too much detail of the games that were played for the wild card round because they had to play 2 games on Mondays, and I wasn't able to cover the result of it. So I was kind of limited in what I was able to talk about last live show. But now we got the full picture. We got the conference championships game set, and the Detroit Lions are part of it. And the Detroit Lions have, as the 3rd seed, made it to the NFC Championship game, which doesn't sound too crazy, but remember, this is the Lions. This don't happen often. This only happened once in history, now twice. A game against the Buccaneers. I'll save it for a little bit. I want to get through the rest of the divisional round. We'll save the Lions for last, but I want to at least get my thoughts, at least in summary, of these past games. So I want to start off with the Ravens and the Texans. No shame in this one for the Texans, I would say. Baltimore is built. Baltimore is the class of the NFL for this season. They have been the best team. They are the best team. They're healthy, they're built, and they're ready to go. There's no shame in losing to that team. C.J. Stroud and the Texans, and rookie quarterback, rookie head coach, rookie edge rusher, and just such a young team. Nobody expected anything from them from this start of the season. And, dude, they won the division and they won the playoff game. So, basically, if you think about it, what Dan Campbell did in 3 years, DeMeco Ryans did in 1. With a rookie quarterback. You can think of it that way. It's an insane turnaround. It just immediately happened after the Texans have basically been on fire and might as well have been, buried and relegated to the XFL. For that team to do this soon, nothing but admiration and applause to the Texans. But you lost to the number 1 seed and the MVP in their house. it's not an indictment on you. So that team is going to be scary going forward. And the AFC South is all of a sudden a very competitive division. Although sad for the Titans losing Mike Vrabel. Getting to San Francisco and Green Bay. So I'm going to give my opinion on this. And I don't get a lot of responses on Twitter, but I got one person that called me soft when I tweeted out what I'm about to say now. But during that game, I was saying and I was hoping that the Niners would win. I would rather play the Niners in their house than play the Packers in ours. Now, how does that make any sense? The Packers are the 7th seed, and we would be at home. And it's a division rival, so we know them well. Why would you rather have the number 1 seed Niners in their house for the NFC Championship game? Because think about it. Green Bay is white hot. Green Bay looked unstoppable. It had like almost nothing to do with on paper, with talent, with like it was magical what they have done to finish out the season, to kick the crap out of the Cowboys, and to get that close to beating the Niners. They looked unstoppable. You have that freight train coming to our house with the history all behind the Lions hosting the Packers in the playoffs. Remember last time that happened? That was the Sterling Sharp game. I can't handle that. I can't handle that kind of pressure. I just got through the Lions hosting Matthew Stafford and the Rams at home for their first wild card game. I would not be able to handle this new white-hot Packers team coming into our house after they just whooped us on Thanksgiving in that same house. I couldn't handle it. I would explode. It was too much. I didn't want that smoke. It had nothing to do with the play on the field. That's what was scary, because if it's not about the play on the field and it's just something magical that's happening, then it's out of your control. There is no reality and there is no reason. There's nothing you can control because it's a white hot magical team. It was the feelings that I got for the Packers. So I did not want that in Ford Field. Because, and another reason for that is we're already in extra credit territory. We already got an A in the class, and now we're doing extra assignments. Now we're getting extra points. Now we're studying with the teacher after class. We're going to office hours. We're a really, really good student. But, so I'm fine with the season as is. And we'll get to that in a little bit more specifically. But if we played the Packers in the NFC Championship game at Ford Field, then if we lose, the season would be ruined for me. Didn't matter what happened. I would be so upset that we lost to the new Jordan Love Packers, the youngest team ever in the playoffs, in our house. I would be furious. It would spoil the rest of the season for me. I do not want that smoke. I would rather have the Niners because, in that sense, from a fan's perspective, if we lose to them, it's fine. I'm more comfortable with losing to the Niners than the Packers. Because they're the number 1 seed, because they're a super built team, because they have a all-star team, I'm more comfortable losing to them than I am to the Packers. Like I said, at this point for the Lions, it's extra credit. I don't want to be spoiled at the end of the season and make me hate what I saw since September. Obviously, I mean, I'll get over it and I'll look back and be like, wow, this was a really good season, but it's just that would turn my stomach inside out, man. I would not be able to handle that. And somebody called me soft for that. I agree. But sometimes you got to be a little soft to I don't know where I'm going with that, but it's a soft take. I understand, but it's my take, and don't call me soft. I'll cry. So, we'll get to the Lions in a bit. I want to talk about the Buffalo and in the Kansas City game. Listen, I didn't watch the entire game front to back. I didn't have popcorn in my hand. I wasn't studying it. But the second half, I watched the game, and in the fourth quarter, It's like the top of the fourth quarter, but it's a 3-point game. The Bills are down by 3. It's 27-24. Chiefs with the lead. The Bills are on their own less than 30-yard line. And they get stopped on fourth down, or on third down. They have to punt. And they decide to fake punt it with Damar Hamlin? On their own 30, they fake the punt. Obviously, it gets blown up because they suck at that. And they basically end the game right there. They get bailed out by a fumble out of the end zone and still couldn't capitalize on it. Oh, something's buzzing. I hit the desk and it's like something got staticky. But let me pop these off. Because of the lucky fumble out of the end zone, you had another chance and you missed the field goal. Good. I say you deserve to lose because of what happened there. That was such a dumb decision. That was horrible. It wasn't even close to being a good decision. I swear it was just for social media. God, can you imagine social media if Damar Hamlin got the fourth down conversion on a fake punt? Do you know why he plays special teams? And do you know why every time a player gets injured in a Buffalo game, they point to him on the sideline? Do you know why he's on the sideline? Because he's not that good. He's a regular player that had a horrible thing happen to him. And thank God he's alive. But he does not deserve special treatment because of something like out of the ordinary happened to him. Why are you giving him the ball? Why are you faking it on fourth down? Why did you throw the game away when you had the best chance you had to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs and go to the AFC Championship game? Why then would you do that? I can't believe the decision. It was I feel like it was two things. It was imagine what social media is going to be. Oh my God, look at him. He got a fourth down. Hooray. He's the comeback player of the year, even though it's in the regular season and the playoffs don't count. It's so good for him and his family. Look at his dad in the stands. Nothing to do with the game. Nothing to do with the field. And nothing to do with who you're playing against. And the second thing is that I swear they would just looked at the Lions game in week 1 and said, ooh, the Lions did it. The Lions went for a fake punt in their own territory against the Chiefs, and they won the game. You're not the Lions, Buffalo. You're not us. You haven't been running fourth downs and fake punts all season long. Your special teams is not built that way. Why are you doing that? But no. I got to watch more of the Chiefs and now in the AFC Championship game. I got to watch you-know-who up in the stands cheering on every single touchdown. And I got to see that and just pray that Lamar Jackson beats the crap out of the Chiefs. I can't stand them. I'm still furious about that call in that game. They deserve to lose. What a boneheaded decision to fake punt in the fourth quarter of a playoff game when you're down by 3 in your own 30. What are you doing? And to build on top of that, when I talk about you-know-who up in the stands cheering on every touchdown, you guys know who I'm talking about. I will not name the name. But I like the Isaiah Pacheco touchdown that got the Chiefs the lead. It was like he scored a touchdown. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Boom! Look at the suite. It wasn't even Kelsey that scored the touchdown. It was Pacheco, and you gave him 3 seconds of footage before you pan over to her. I only have a problem with it because I know it's manufactured. I know it's just for money. I know it's just for attention and it has nothing to do with any real human experience. It's a fake relationship and it's just for money. And they're trying so hard to get the Chiefs to the Super Bowl just so they can show her more.
That's why I get so upset about it. That's why I wanted Buffalo to beat them. I was so sick of the Chiefs. I want them out. But no, they couldn't do it because Buffalo wants to lose. It's time for Baltimore to give it to the Chiefs and get to the Super Bowl. They're on a mission now. All of America is on the Baltimore Ravens side. Don't mess up. Whew. Can we calm down now? We got good news to talk about now. Let's calm down here, folks. This is football therapy. Let's take it easy. And let's talk about some good news. The Detroit Lions beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That just feels so much better just saying it. Detroit is in the NFC Championship game. We are one game away from going to the Super Bowl. It's amazing. It's extra credit at this point. Everyone just wanted to win the division and win a playoff game. Now we've won 2 at home. And now we get to we get to go to the championship game against the Niners. I already kind of told my feelings about it earlier, but I would rather play the Niners because then it's completely house money. Detroit plays good on the road, and the Niners didn't look so good against the Packers. They're a little rusty. So I'm a little bit more excited for, a little bit more happy and pleased and at peace with our matchup against now the 49ers. But let me pause for 1 second. We're gonna go to a PSA. I gotta plug in the computer here. Oops. We'll be right back on the GioMoShow in 30 to 60 seconds. And we're back here on the GioMoShow, 88.3 FM, WXOU. Sorry about that. I had to solve a little technical issue here. But either way, continuing with my talk on the Detroit Lions beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I talked about the implications of being in the NFC Championship game. I like the matchup with the Niners. The Niners are a little rusty. I'd rather play them coming off of a bad game than play the white-hot Green Bay that looked unstoppable. So talk about the game itself. It was close. It's a divisional round. The games are going to be close. It's the playoffs. It's going to happen. Good teams make it to that round of the playoffs. So it was a close game throughout. It was, Tampa Bay had a stubborn defense. The running game had chunk plays, but overall, Vita Vea and that defensive line and that Tampa Bay defense put in some good work in stopping the run, similar to what they did in Tampa Bay earlier this year. Now, of course, it didn't stop Jahmyr Gibbs. No way. Gibbs was phenomenal that game. The touchdown in the fourth quarter to put the Lions up after it was a tie game at 17. It's what he does. He is so much stronger and sturdier than you would think for a back that specializes in speed and taking it to the house. He is so much tougher to tackle than you would think. Because usually guys like that are of the DeAndre Swift type, where they're fast, they're agile, but they're made of glass. Jahmyr Gibbs is built tough like Montgomery, but he's got the speed like Jameson Williams. If you want to fuse two players together on the Lions, then you get Jahmyr Gibbs. So for him to make that move was on the all-pro safety, Antoine Winfield Jr., and he took it to the house, aimed for the corner of the end zone and said, I'm in, and beat the guy there, and that put us up. It was like, Jahmyr Gibbs is amazing, and it's a shame for him that C.J. Stroud was just such a legendary rookie quarterback that Gibbs cannot be the offensive rookie of the year. It just won't happen. But Gibbs was amazing. Amon-Ra St. Brown continues to be amazing. Looking at the stats, Gibbs was 9 of 74 on touchdowns, and it was 440 receiving as well. I got the box score up. St. Brown, 8 catches, 77 yards, and a touchdown. That touchdown with the fade, the over the shoulder on the right side of the end zone. We don't usually see him make catch. We don't usually see him get thrown balls like that. But It was he is just he's amazing. I want to try to avoid using the word electric too much, but he is great. He was just great. Craig Reynolds even scored a touchdown on 4th down. Listen, Buffalo, not every team can go on 4th down like the Lions can, okay? You know how much caffeine our head coach drinks? Listen, you can't run like us, especially for the first time trying it in the playoffs. Anyway, old topic, but you ever saw Craig Reynolds score a touchdown? I guess just the Bucks are, or when he shows up, he had the big, both the running backs were injured. The first time they played the Buccaneers, I believe they were both injured, and Craig Reynolds had a huge block to give St. Brown a huge touchdown in that slow defensive game, and now he is given the 4th down rushing touchdown at home in the divisional round. That was awesome for him. Frank Ragnow is Iron Man. Frank Ragnow is a freaking semi-truck. Oh, let me back up some of my phrasing here. I'm saying he's just super tough. I'm saying that he is a warrior and that he's made of steel. We thought we already lost Jonah Jackson. So, that defensive line of Tampa Bay is not one that you could be losing linemen to. And when we saw Frank Ragnow go down, we're like, oh no, this can't be good. Everyone was concerned. And then just like one drive later, basically, he is back. And, him in the middle against Vita Vea is needed and is necessary. And he stepped up, and even through him hurting whatever, I can't remember what he hurt or how he did it, but it was just, oh man, he is just strong. He is the anchor of that offensive line. Penei Sewell's great and all that, but the center is the center, man. And he's just a tank. Ife Melifonwu is all of a sudden our best safety. I know CJ would, or CD Deuce. What does he want us to call him? Maybe he would disagree politely, but Ife is just, we unlocked him this season with the blitzes, and he gets an interception. I think he got the interception, or it was CJ, but he's just showing up. He's making plays, and he was part of Campbell. He was part of Campbell and Holmes' first draft class, the same as Penei Sewell, the same as Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now you got a starting safety out of that draft as well, dude. We're getting gold everywhere through this draft, and Ife is another product of that. And one thing, so all these players are amazing. I want to list one more. Derek Barnes icing the game with his first interception of the season, or even his career, I can't remember. Was just such an amazing play. So I'll give you the story of how I experienced that play, and I'll make it quick because it's radio for one. But we were at a friend's house, and in the 4th quarter, everyone made sure to sit down on the couch and watch the rest of the game and focus. And the friend we're at a friend's house, and they had a little blanket on the couch. It was more for decoration, but he was a little chilly, so we threw the blanket on. And then, as soon as he did, Gibbs scores a touchdown a few plays later. And then, it was all in the 4th quarter, Lions score another touchdown in the 4th quarter. Like that. And we're like, oh my God, dude, it's the blanket, let's go. We're all shoving him and stuff, we're all excited. And then when the Bucks get the ball last with a chance to win the game with that final drive, our friend just shouts out, he goes, just realizing it, he goes, we win the game if we get an interception. 1, 2, 3, boom! The interception is thrown. Derek Barnes catches it right away, and we're losing our minds in this house. And we're shaking him, we're smacking him. We're like, "Oh my God, you did it! You called it! I can't believe it!" It's just so funny. Forgive me for I know you guys can't really relate to the story. You weren't there, but it was just awesome to see. I love Derek Barnes. I know he messes up, and I know he could have had the safety on Dak Prescott, and it led to the touchdown by CeeDee Lamb. I know he's got his flaws, but that dude, I like his tenacity, man. I like the cut of his jib, and to catch that ball, to end the divisional round and send the Lions to the NFC Championship game is amazing. Good for Barnes. It's a good linebacker name. That's part of why I like him. Derek Barnes. It's a good linebacker name. And then one thing I will say, obviously I come out of this game with a few concerns as well as far as the pass defense goes. Nothing new, but Cam Sutton, man. I mean, he's slow. I don't know. I can't remember. I know he came back from injury against the Cowboys. Like either it was his toe or something, but the dude the dude gets blown by all the time. And just the secondary in general, like I feel like the top receiver has had like over like 125, 130 yards in the past, like I swear, like 5 games. From Minnesota to Dallas to Minnesota again to the Rams and now, the Bucs. 5 games in a row that their top receiver would just eat up yards. And yes, it's empty calories, but listen, man, that's tough. That's tough business. It's a tough way to do business. So the pass defense does still give me some concern, but the defense clutches up when they need to, man. It's effective. And now we're in the NFC Championship game. So now projecting and looking at this championship weekend of the NFC and the AFC. Talk about the AFC here. I mentioned it before, but we need the Ravens to win. For Lamar's sake, I think him being the MVP, most likely. You know, him in his career, he's good enough. I like the guy. I like how he's revolutionized the position. He is, if he gets this Super Bowl, I think he's even if he loses it, I feel like he would still be a Hall of Famer with 2 MVPs and a Super Bowl appearance. Yes, the playoff records, whatever. It might be like a later year Hall of Famer, but he has revolutionized the game, and I have absolute respect for that. The way, and I kind of hated how he would sit out and stuff, and his contract negotiation was weird, but it worked. He got paid. The team is better, and now they're looking to go to the Super Bowl. So either way, so I love the Ravens. I like Roquan Smith as this. Forgive me for exaggerating, but playing the Ray Lewis type on defense. The big middle linebacker in Baltimore. Like one of the best in the league. Like he's got kind of that same role. I dig that. There's such a complete team, and they steamrolled us in the regular season. So I'd rather lose to the Super Bowl champions in that way. But I like what the Ravens are doing. I like how they're built, and I like how they have improved and have focused on getting to the Super Bowl. I mentioned already, I can't stand the Chiefs. Their offense stinks. They're a shell of themselves, and all I see is commercials of Mahomes and Kelsey, and I see them both having one of the worst years of their careers, and yet I still have to see them everywhere. Obviously, I understand the schedule of taping, like they're not, they tape these things after the Super Bowl when they're, when they're the reigning champions and all that, and like I get that, but like you got to be good to warrant this much TV time outside of the football games, I would say. So I get really sick of teams that will do that but suck. And the Chiefs are that. They ran into, or they got Miami in the freezing cold in the wild card round at home. They got the Bills pretending to play football and, playing freaking little league. Let's give DeMar Hamlin the ball and my God, I hate that decision. They ran into a Bills team that had their head up their rear end, and now they go to the AFC Championship game. They stink. They should lose. I don't care if we have to play Baltimore in the Super Bowl, we would probably get steamrolled. Whatever. Obviously, I don't know. Maybe I'm talking too much, but I just hate the Chiefs, man. Baltimore's got to beat them. And I think they can because they are straight up the better team and they're hosting. Now to the NFC Championship game, the Lions have a huge battle in front of them. Honestly, I have a hard time thinking that we could beat them. Yes, the Niners didn't look very good against Green Bay, but good teams like that, when they come off of a bad game, they have a lot to fix, and they're more attentive to detail, and they'll probably give it to the Lions. I think it'll be a close game. The Lions play very well on the road. Penei Sewell will lock up Nick Bosa just like he did in his first game in his career ever. And I think the Lions have a shot. But it's a long one. I'm happy with the season either way. So that will bring us now to the end of the JoMo Show. Thank you for everybody for tuning in to WXOU. Thank you to everybody who tuned in live on YouTube. We're going to be starting to do that more often now, and I'll be sure to announce it with enough heads up for it. I just wanted to try it out for this week's show. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next week, Mondays at noon, for the JoMo Show on WXOU.